Welcome to the regular meeting of the Cape Coral Youth Council. Today is November 8th, 2024. This meeting will now come to order. Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For this meeting, I will be calling the roll. Members Halsey and Roman have asked to be excused. Dupeyron? Here. Feichthaler? Garcia? Here. Johnson?
Here.
Lebed?
Here.
Mazurkowitz?
Here.
M. Paragonda?
Here.
Muncy?
Here.
Ortiz Rivera? Riley?
Here.
Salazar?
Here.
Skorzak?
Here.
And Woodish.
Here.
Okay. Item 4, guest speaker. Today we have a guest speaker from the Cape Coral Charter Schools, Chair Christopher Jackson. If you may approach the mic.
This one here today? Great. All right, good evening. I'd like to first introduce myself. My name is Christopher Jackson, and I am the chair of the Oasis Charter School Governing Board Authority. So I'd like to first thank Madam Chair and distinguished members of the board. Thank you for having me back. This is my second time coming to formally speak. It's great to see some old faces from last year, and I see some of the new members as well, so it's refreshing to see. As I stated last year, I think that the distinguished members that sit upon this board are going to be the future business leaders and politicians of our community here, so it's always reassuring to see this. I love the way that you guys run your meetings. I think that you're so professional in the way that you do this. I think we'll be seeing great things out of you, so I thank you for all that. I come here today to invite you formally to come shadow the Oasis Charter Board at their meeting on January 14th, and that's going to be held at 5:30 here in Chambers. Last year when we did this, the board actually sat up there with us. The Youth Council sat with us. We kind of prefaced it with the city attorneys, where we were allowing the board to speak as well, or the youth council to speak as well, and ask some questions. So I would hope that you'd come prepared with some questions, because last year the youth council was able to ask questions to our superintendent and to our guest speakers, and they were able to actually get some stuff done, which I thought was great too. So your voices got heard, and it wasn't just, window dressing. You actually got to see some changes and got to have your voices heard. So I'm hoping this year is going to be the same thing, that you come with some questions, come with some concerns, let your voices be heard. So any comments or concerns that you have, please, I'll leave some of my business cards up here with Connie, and she can pass them along to you. Just email me what those are, and as long as they're in the wheelhouse and they're relevant to the meeting, we can definitely bring them up for discussion and talk about them. And I also want to talk about anything that's top of mind for you. So last year it was the concerns of school safety. So what I did was I had Chief Police for Cape Coral come, Anthony Sizemore. He came and gave a great presentation about school safety. I think he got to answer a lot of questions. So this year, if you have any top of mind concerns again, please feel free to bring those, and I'll try to get another guest speaker that could possibly come and do this with us again this year, and maybe bring some content knowledge as well. So any ideas that you have on that, please let me know. I will send the agenda to you as soon as I get it, so that you can read it over and be better informed for that meeting as well. So any questions for me, please feel free. I'm open book. Okay.
Great, thank you, Chair Jackson. Is there any questions from the council that they would like to ask right now? No? All right, well, thank you so much for making it to this meeting. I did ask you to come and speak. I loved going to the meeting last year and being able to speak and ask questions, because obviously as someone that's been in the charter school system for all 13 years of my schooling, it's something that I am concerned about, and I want to be able to help in what ways that I can and be more informed. I definitely have some questions off the top of my head that I would like to ask come January, so.
Great.
We will, December meeting, be creating some questions just to ask and kind of compile a doc for those that are going to go. Okay?
And I know the Oasis School Board is, comprised of just the Oasis schools, and I know that this board is representative of the Lee County schools. I am pretty good friends with Mr. Samuel Fisher, who is the chair of the Lee County School Board, so maybe possibly we can get something like that with them as well. So, okay?
Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Right. Moving on to item 5, changes to the agenda. Is there any changes to be made to the agenda at this time? Right. Seeing none, do I have a motion to adopt the agenda items as presented? Member Mazurkowitz?
Motion to adopt.
Do I have a second? Member Imparagonda?
I second that motion.
Member Mazurkowitz made the motion. Member Imparagonda seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 6, review of meeting notes. Is there any changes to the meeting notes presented? Is there a motion to adopt the meeting notes as presented? Member Salazar?
I motion to adopt the meeting notes presented.
Is there a second? Member Whitish?
I second that motion.
Member Salazar made the motion. Member Whitish seconded. Any discussion? Right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 7, recognitions and achievements. There are none to report at this time. Item 8, advisor presentations and the upcoming council report. I now pass the floor over to Advisor Mazurkowitz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next meeting of City Council is not till 11:20. It'll be where the City Council will have swearing of newly elected officials. It will be only the second time in the history of the city that we will have changed 5 seats at one time. Big changes coming to the City Council. I think it will be a very interesting meeting. Every time you change that many members of City Council, I think you'll have a pretty decent-sized audience. It should be a very happy occasion. I'm sure the voters of the city of Cape Coral will be looking for some major changes to occur right away with the City Council. So it may, if you can't be here, it may be a fun one to watch on TV to see how the newly elected officials are going to try to implement their changes they talked about on the campaign trail. That's it.
Thank you. I do have one question. Can you refresh my mind on who the original council members are that are still on the council that didn't go up for re-election this time around?
Mayor Gunter, Member Keith Long, and Member Bill Stenke.
Okay.
Those 3 will remain on council for
And the
2
rest
more
have
years.
changed?
Huh?
And the rest have changed?
The rest have changed,
That's
yes.
a lot.
Yes, it's only the second time we've changed 5 at one time.
All right. Thank you. Any discussion about that? Right, I will do my best to make it out there because that is a pretty momentous occasion. 5 seats being vacant all at once and then being filled. All right. Item 9, citizens input. This consists of inputs of citizens on matters concerning city government, 3 minutes per individual. The council will listen to all speakers and respond after all speakers have made their presentations. I will now read the Pledge of Civility. We will be respectful of each other even when we disagree. We will direct all comments to the issues. We will avoid personal attacks. Citizens input is now open. Any members of the public wishing to speak, please use the podium to your right, facing the dais, and state your name for the record. Is there anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing none, citizens' input is now closed. Moving on to item 10, quarterly report. After the quarterly report on the 28th of August, we need to discuss the date in December that we can give our next quarterly report. Okay, so I looked back and we had said for August, December, and then April or March, and we didn't come up with like a specific date that we wanted to do it. So is there any date that, Ms. Grigland, that you have in mind that would be available for us with the city council meetings?
So am I correct in saying we're doing the next one in January?
Oh, we're doing the next one in January?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. So either the notes were wrong or we changed it and I just do not remember. Okay, so it's going to be done in January. Is there anything else?
So they obviously have not approved the calendar for 2025, but it's going to be on the November 20th meeting. And I can at least tell you the 2 dates that they're having the regular meeting. So I would suggest that we pencil something in, so at least we have it, and then, because then obviously that gives you guys roughly, if we choose the second one in January, which is, the first one is January the 8th, and then the second one is January the 22nd. I would suggest choosing January the 22nd, it'll give you more time, and it'll give you 2 months to prepare the presentation, gather pictures, we'll have passed a lot of events on there, so that would be my suggestion.
Okay. Let's go ahead and just get people that would like to work on the quarterly report. I'd like 2 people, at most, to work at the quarterly report. Is there anyone willing to work on it? Member Whitish, and then anyone else? Member Imparagonda? Okay. Anyone else that wanted to work on it? No? Okay. So, Imparagonda and Whitish, you 2 will be working on the quarterly report. Whitish, you've already done the quarterly report in the past, right? Okay. So, just work with him. He's already done it. So, you already know how it's run. I just want the projects and all the things and updates. You already know. Okay. So, yeah, let's aim for January 22nd, and then we'll approve the date come December meeting. All right. Any more discussion on that? Right. Seeing none, moving on to item 11, business. Item 11A, strategic plan and initiatives, continued discussion. In our last meeting, we discussed our final changes to the strategic plan. The final document has been included in your backup material, so is there any changes that need to be made to the plan before we move to adopt it?
Madam Chair, just some typos and corrections. Under fiscal assets, tactics, the last sentence is she, not C, she will give quarterly reports. Take that extra S out. And under tactics or methods external, members will keep track, T-R-A-C-K, not T. With those changes, those typos, everything seems to be good.
Okay. Since it doesn't change the principle of the document, can we go ahead and move on to adopt it with those changes in mind? Okay, cool. All right, so do I have a motion to adopt the presented? Is there any other discussion regarding that before we move on to the formal? Okay. Do I have a motion to adopt the presented strategic plan for the 2024 through 2025 term with those grammatical errors corrected in mind? Member Whitish?
I move to adopt our strategic plan.
Do I have a second? Member Riley?
I second that motion.
Right, Member Whitish made the motion. Member Riley seconded. Is there any discussion? Right? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Good. So, took till November, but we finally have our strategic plan official. So, good job, guys. Item 11B, junior project. I will now pass the floor over to Member Johnson for her updates, especially in regards to the changes that needed to be made because of the hurricane.
So our book drive was supposed to take place during the month of October 15th to November 15th, but with the hurricane, we decided to move it. So today, the biggest thing we need to come up with is the new dates for it. I do suggest we go into next year to do our book drive, as we have all of the breaks coming up and the toy drives or food drives with Christmas and Thanksgiving. So if you look in the backup material, I have 4 possible dates we could do. And then our drop-off locations, our final drop-off locations are Oasis, Bishop Verot, Island Coast, Cape Coral High School, Ida Baker, North Fort Myers, and the Youth Center. All of those locations have been contacted and know that of the changes that we will be moving the book drive. As soon as we come up with a new date, I will contact them all again and inform them with the new dates and when we will drop off boxes, etc. With that, we also need to see who can take boxes where. So who can drop off the boxes so they're there for when we collect the books. Sorting at the youth center, once we come up with a date again, I will contact the youth center again and set up another sorting date, which will be a couple days after the book drive is completed. The hospital is excited to work with us, and they are also informed of the new changes to the dates. They said that any day, Monday through Friday, between the hours of 7:30 and 4:30, we can drop off the books. We'll take a picture in front of the hospital to post on social media. They said they'll post it on their social media so we can get the word out there. And then the last thing I have is media outreach. Once we come up with our final days and it's closer to the actual dates of the book drive, I would like to get in contact with local news stations to see if we can do a story on the book drive to get more participation throughout the community. I know most of our drop-off locations are schools, but there's also the youth center, just so maybe we can get some more books donated to make it more successful.
All right, that was very, very thorough. Thank you very much. So yes, we do need to decide on dates to have it now that it got switched. What's your recommendation out of these 4 dates?
So I had January 7th to February 7th, January 14th to February 14th, February 4th to March 4th, and then February 11th to March 11th. I tried to do like a variety, but I didn't want to go past March as I think that'd be too
Yeah.
late.
Yeah, that's good thinking. All right, I open the floor to discussion. What do we think? What are the pros and cons of each date? All right, well, I'll start off. I think that either January 7th through February 7th or January 14th through January 14th through February 14th are the two best dates to have it done. Yeah, is there any varying input? Member Skorzak?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I agree with that. I feel like if we drag it on too much, it's kind of, it might seem like we're not like working as, like from the community, it might not seem that's like as efficient as it should be. So I feel like the earlier we get it done, the better. I think I would say January 14th to February 14th, just because that gives us like a little bit of time after the holidays to like reset. But yeah, I think that would be my suggestion.
Okay, so January 14th through February 14th. What about this side? Any discussion on here? None? All right, so right now I'm hearing to keep it not keep it, change it to January 14th through February 14th for the duration of the book drive. Okay, so I'll keep that and then we'll make a motion at the very end, okay? Through Feb 14th, okay. What was the other topic that you said?
Who's gonna drop off to which schools? So as of right now, I'll be dropping off to Oasis High School, and then Member and Paraganda will drop off to Bishop Verot. But we still have those other 5 drop-off locations to where I want to see if anybody would be willing to drop off the boxes.
Okay, Member Mazurkowitz?
I can drop off to North Fort Myers.
Okay.
Okay. So North Fort Myers will go to Mazurkowitz. Lubid?
You said you wanted to drop off at the youth center as well?
Yep.
I can do that.
Okay, Lubid will do the youth center. Do payroll then Muncie.
I can do Cape Coral High School.
Cape Coral High School for Dupeyron. Muncie. Ida Baker, okay. Muncie for Ida Baker. Which ones are remaining?
Island Coast.
Island Coast. Anyone? Salazar?
I can do Island Coast.
All right, and that covers all of our bases. So really quick, it's going to be Oasis to Member Johnson, Bishop for Member M. Paraganda, Island Coast for Member Salazar, Cape Coral High School for Member Dupeyron, Ida Baker for Member Muncie, North Fort Myers for Member Mazurkowitz, and the Youth Center for Member Lebed. Okay? So I won't repeat that again, but I don't think we have a problem with it. Member Salazar?
Are we dropping off on January 14th or before that?
Preferably either the day before, or if, like, I think that date's on I don't know what day of the week that is.
I can
A
look.
Tuesday, it's probably on that Monday, so it's there to start on the 14th.
Yeah, the 14th is a Tuesday, so
Yes.
drop them off on the 14th?
On the 13th, on that
13th,
Monday. Yeah.
okay.
Okay. So that's dropping off the boxes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Member Squadzak, did you have something? No? Okay. So, am I correct in assuming that those that will be dropping off the boxes will also be responsible for checking in on the boxes?
If they're okay with that, yes.
Okay, is there anyone off that list that has a problem with that? You'll be checking in 2 times during that duration, just to make sure that's not overflowing. Is there any issues? Member Salazar?
2 times, like in a month, a week?
2 times during the duration. So if
Oh,
we're
during
going
the
with
entire?
January 14th to February 14th, just 2 specific dates that Member Johnson is going to come up with for you to go and check.
Okay, thank
Okay?
you.
Yep. Right.
I'm sorry, Chair, if I may input only because I'm just thinking about it. Contacts, do we have contacts at the school that we can share with the members?
Yes.
So that they can email them and know who's coming? Because obviously for security purposes, if it comes like from me, oh, I'm not the one going, I'd rather it come from the person
Yes.
that's actually going. So maybe you can share that as a group
Yes,
somehow.
I can make a list of all of the contact information and send to the people who are dropping off to the certain schools.
Perfect. And then I would suggest, obviously, maybe doing it before Christmas break. Hey, just a reminder, you know, you had agreed to use your location as a drop-off site. Our intention is to drop the box off, you know, on Monday, January 13th. You know, does that still work for you? Because we don't want to assume it's not working for them. And then you can also let them know that you are the point of contact. And should that box overflow before the first time you make it there, then they're only in contact with the person that physically is dropping off and going there to make it as smooth as possible. Thank you.
Okay. Do we want to approve the dates that they have to go and check in on the boxes, or is that something that they can just do on their own?
I would suggest once they have the contact, they can easily ask that him or her to say, you know, this is my intention, you know, this is the first time I'm gonna come by. If it's filled up before then, that way they're only in communication with them.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so that's up to your discretion. Just give that info to them if you want to have a specific date, or you want to just leave it to them to email them and make sure that they check in to make sure nothing's overflowing.
Okay.
Okay. Here's the information that we have so far. Then we can make a motion to make sure that happens, and that will be it for this item. So, we have said to do January 14th through February 14th for the days that we will have the junior project duration, where they will go to the schools and we'll be collecting donations during that time. So the approved members already, do I need to list them off again? No? Okay. And Member Johnson will be in charge of letting you know dates to check in on the boxes, or if she would rather it be up to the discretion of the person going to the schools. Okay? Is there any discussion on that? Right? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. That wasn't an official motion or anything. Is that okay? Okay. Just making sure that we cover all bases. All right, so seeing none, we're going to be moving on to the senior project, item 11C. I will now pass the floor over to Member Whittish for his updates.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So at this time, our Reach Out program is at a satisfactory level of success. At this time, 2 presentations are scheduled and 1 is complete. The 2 presentations that are scheduled are North Myers High School on November 14th, as well as Oasis High School on December 3rd. Both of those dates are new, as we had to do some rescheduling due to homecoming, and then of course the hurricane. So the student government associations that we're presenting to did have to reschedule. In terms of Norfolk Myers High School on November 14th, we're facing a small barrier that we did not face at Ida Baker. The only thing is that the Norfolk Myers High School administration, they are going to be sending me, I've been requesting it, but they haven't gotten back to me yet. They said they'll be sending it as soon as they can. Apparently there's a special sign-in process. They mentioned somewhat of a background check for the city officials wanting to come and accompany us. So once they send me that information, once I get it, I can then send it to the people that are going to accompany us for them to complete. In terms of the Ida Baker High School presentation that was successful on October 28th, the presentation team included members, myself, Garcia, Halsey, and Paraganda, with the addition of Assistant City Manager Connie Barron, City Councilmember Bill Steinke, and Matthew Charnin, our City Attorney. Concerning the Ida Baker presentation, it was extremely successful. 20-plus students at Ida Baker, all members of the Ida Baker Student Government Association attended, of which 11 submitted responses to our survey, indicating a 55% response rate, denoting a majority of attendees responding to our survey. Survey results will be synthesized and are intended to be included in our quarterly report to show City Council members. Concerning the remaining schools, Cape Coral High School, Island Coast High School, Mariner High School, I have only obtained a response from Cape Coral High School. The principal reached out and gave me the contact information for the SGA advisor there, and I have reached out to her. She has to date not responded, and I will follow up as necessary. Concerning Island Coast and Mariner, I have sent follow-up emails, but to no avail. I'm going to end up having to call the schools and attempt to get in contact with the SGA advisor there to coordinate a potential presentation. I'd now like to go over some of the survey responses that we received, just to kind of give you guys an idea of really what the responses look like so far. So once again, we had 11 submissions to our survey, all of which the students were from Cape Coral. The ages were from 14 to 17. And I think some of the interesting responses that we got, one of the questions was, what is the single greatest issue, I believe, facing youth in the city today? The responses were potholes, recreational parks for youth, the lack of participation in local government, the effects of social media on students, construction at every corner throughout the city, gas prices, lack of community events for youth, once again, construction, places to go like parks, and even one response, which was a really unique response, they said, I feel like Pine Island isn't getting enough love following the hurricane damage. So just to show you guys that there is a really universal and diverse pool of concerns that we're getting, and I think this is showing us that already, we for a long time as a youth council wanted people to come to us and tell the issues that they're having. Well, now we're going to them and we're actually getting good responses. So I think that all around, this is exactly what we wanted from this project, and with the next 2 projects scheduled, I think we'll only get more and better responses. So then the other questions were, do you think that your city council is representing you well? The 4 said, I don't know, 4 said good, 1 said bad, and 2 said mediocre. So take that as you will, but I think that kind of shows, because you had 4 that said, I do not know, but then 7 actually gave an answer. So 7 out of 11, from what we can tell, are actually paying attention to some degree to local government to actually give a response. That's obviously not confirmed, but that's what we can tell from this so far. Before today's presentation, did you know about the Youth Council? 1, 2, 3, 4 said no, and 7 said yes. So I would say that that shows that we do have a good presence in terms of how many people have knowledge of our organization out in the community. And then, did this presentation help you learn about the Youth Council? All said yes except 1. Do you feel well represented by the Youth Council? All said yes except 2. And then, how satisfied were you with this presentation? All said satisfied. So that's really all that I have right now. I'd say that concerning our first presentation, number 1, 20 people came, 11 responded to the survey. That's pretty successful. In terms of what's going on at North Fort Myers High School with the background check that they want to do, once they tell me what that is, and I sent a follow-up email actually this morning, and I've sent 2 emails prior to that. Once they give me that information, then I'll forward it to the city officials accompanying us. But that's all I have to date, and I'll take any questions.
All right, thank you. Again, very thorough. Thank you for that presentation. Is there any discussion before we get into my questions? Anything? Okay. Just a bit of reflecting. I did go to the presentation. I think it was pretty well. We did have some people leave in the middle of it, so by the end our numbers kind of dwindled, but it was okay because we had a very good conversation about a lot of things. regarding the city, especially city issues and like what people are concerned about. And I think that a lot of them were engaged and excited that people were actually like there to talk to them about something that they usually aren't talked to about. If I may make one adjustment to when we go to next one, North Fort Myers, we need to cut down on, and I know we invited them, but guest presentation time. A lot of time was taken to give those guest presentations when I feel like we could have spent more time speaking. And they have a lot of information that they want to give out, but we want to make sure that we allow ample time to speak about the issues. Remember, Whitish?
So what I can do is before the presentation teams are designated, in addition to the city officials, I sent out an agenda with which parts they'll be speaking on. For this next agenda, I can put time limits. I can put 10 minutes for this, 10 minutes for that. But also, I do want to say, like in terms of the people that come and attend with us, I want to be as kind to them as possible, and I want them to kind of not do their own thing, but I don't want us to like make too many demands because they're already taking time out of their schedules to come with us in that sense, if you know what I'm saying. So I want to really, because for example, Councilmember Steinke gave a great presentation. He did take 20 minutes, and I understand that concern. But I also don't want to tell him like next time, like, hey, you know, don't take as long. You know what I mean? But I'll put it on the agenda. I'll limit it. So yeah, that's I guess the best way that we can move forward with that. Also, with the presentations, I know that there were some like issues, like for example, with the QR code for the survey.
Yep.
Those are now fixed. So I did want to make mention of that. The presentations are now updated, so we won't run into that issue next time.
Oh, okay. So it is like the QR code does work. Okay, that's good. Okay, so two things that I want to get out that are just on my mind. Ms. Grigland did send out an email of photos from the presentation. She did ask our communications director to post on social media. That was about like a week and a half ago. It still hasn't been done. So can you reach out to our communications director to make sure that's posted? Thank you. And another thing is when you're doing the quarterly report, I'm sure I don't have to tell you, but just saying, since you are going to be including these responses, maybe making like a nice little visual pie chart for them. I think that would be a nice addition to the quarterly report, and Paragon to you too. And then I just want an updated list of who's going to be able to attend North Fort Myers High School and Oasis. Oasis is going to be on December 3rd. It's a Tuesday. So if we want to get that tally now, starting off with the North Fort Myers High School, who was planning on going? Ms. Zerkowitz, myself, Ortiz Rivera. I'm just trying to write, sorry. Question? Okay, I'll come back to you. Woodish. And Woodish, am I missing anyone was Roman and Halsey going to go as well? Do you know?
I don't know.
Not off the top of your head. That's okay. I'll contact them later. We still have some time. Anyone else that wanted to go, just to have like a list of who to expect? Okay. Member in Paragonda?
I just wanted to know what time it's at. Like, is it at the same
1:45.
time? What time?
1:45. And can I get a list for Oasis? This is also going to be at 1:45 on December 3rd. Whitish, Skorzak, Muncie, Fikethaler, Johnson, DuPayron. Okay, large turnout for that one. And myself. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6 members. Did I miss anyone? Okay. I will say in regards to Oasis, I have been talking to our SGA advisor there, Miss Ailey, already. She's pretty swamped right now just because of basketball season, and she's the basketball coach. But she is really excited about this, and I've already talked to some National Honor Society, seeing if they would like to join. And their advisor, Miss Breeze, is very excited. I talked to her about it yesterday when I was working on something for NHS, and she would love to also be there and invite her officers. I did talk to my principal, however, and she said that since it is an after-school event, we have to open it up to all everyone in the entire school. We have to have someone from the school present there, so whether that be Miss Ailey or Miss Breeze. So just keep that in the back of your mind. I'm gonna take care of that, just kind of getting the word out and talking to those individual advisors. I also plan, go ahead.
Just real quick, every school that we've gone to, in the 2 schools coming up, I've emailed them a flyer to help with advertising. So they already
Okay.
have that. So if you want to tell Miss Ailey to like check her email for that, just because I
Yeah.
didn't want to like give them no resources to help, try and get students there. So they can use that, print that out, post it, just stuff like that. So they do have the resources to advertise.
Okay. About the flyer. Okay. Yeah, I'll talk to Ailey about that. I don't have her as a teacher personally, but I know her, so okay. So yeah, I'm planning on having a large turnout there at Oasis. Is there any other discussion regarding the senior project? Member DePeyron.
I wanted to say, if you want me to talk to the SGA advisor at my school in person, since I know you're not getting a response, and I know she also is like very like busy with other things, so I can just talk to her in person and make sure that she responds to you.
Yeah, that'd be very helpful. I'm just not getting a response, not only from Cape, but also Mariner and Island Coast. So at this point, I might just, I will start calling and just, trying to see what's up with that, so.
I would say by next meeting, if they don't respond to you, we might want to drop those schools. Because we've also had problems with the book drive contacting those 2 schools specifically, not Island Coast. Island Coast we have gotten a response from, but Mariner and Island Coast, go ahead.
Not to start a debate, because I know there was one last time, but if we do drop those schools, then are we going to open it up to Bishop Verrill to do a presentation? Or are we just going to cut it off at 3 schools?
The original plan was to give this presentation to talk about this Cape Coral City Youth Council and the Cape Coral Youth Council. So I don't think it's going to be very beneficial to go to like Bishop Verrill.
If
And that was the discussion that we had.
Yeah, if that's the case, I'm just trying to, I don't want to like make this, a project where we only reach 3 schools. I know that our purview as a council, as defined, kind of within our jurisdiction, is to certain schools in Cape Coral, but I know, like, for example, North Nicholas High School, that's a school that is represented in Cape Coral. I'm not sure how that would work. We do have technically an at-large seat on the council, so I don't know if North Nicholas, like a student from there, could qualify to be on the youth council from that school. I'm just trying to make sure that we reach as many corners as possible with this.
Yep. I see where you're coming from. However, and we can talk about it. That's fine. But let's open it up and then I'll speak more on it. Is there anyone that wants to have a discussion on that? Advisors?
Madam Chair, I have a pretty good relationship with the newly elected superintendent, and I think we could probably get the superintendent to call the principal and respond to this group coming from the new superintendent. Can you send me the package that you sent to those schools? And I'll make sure, I'll get it to the superintendent with the schools that did not respond yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
With a request to have, I'm sure they'll maybe kick it up a little bit.
Thank you.
All right. Well, with that offer on the table, let's leave the conversation about Bishop Verrill. Okay. So, unless we want to talk about it, but I didn't see much eagerness to. No? All right. So let's table that conversation. We'll come back to it if we need it. But thank you, Mr. Advisor Mizerkowitz. Is there any other discussion regarding the senior project before we move on? Okay. Moving on to item D, blessings in a backpack, continued discussion. I will now pass the floor over to Member Mizerkowitz for updates regarding the Holiday Festival of Lights and the raffle baskets, where we will be having the raffle baskets at.
I don't really have any any crazy updates. It's mostly a reminder that, well, actually, that's not true. Mostly a reminder that Holiday Festival of Lights is December 7th, 2024, so people who do not have their baskets done yet need to get those in before then so we can have baskets to actually raffle off. And last meeting, we discussed that the youth council would share a booth with the Chamber of Commerce, if that offer is still on the table. Advisor Mazurkowitz?
Yes.
Okay, so we're just gonna stick with that. But the only other thing that I would want to discuss is people who want to volunteer to help with our booth on December 7th. The event is on Cape Coral Parkway from 4 to 10 p.m., so it's on a Saturday. So if anyone wants to volunteer for that.
Is it the same area where they have red, white, and boom?
No.
You'll be up by Vincennes and Cape Coral Parkway.
Oh,
By Vincennes and
okay.
Cape Coral Parkway. It'll be, actually, if you're next to the chamber booth that I'm in, you'll be right across from a tree.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Farm real
Okay.
estate.
All right. Is there anyone that would like to volunteer?
What are the times for Holiday Festival Lights?
Holiday Festival of Lights is 4 to 10 p.m.
4 to 10. Okay, thank you.
So if you can't stay the whole time, or if you have to go late, that's fine. Just like make it clear when you volunteer so that we know, but yeah.
Okay. Is there anyone that would like to volunteer for this event? Okay. Mazurkowitz and Paragonda. And there's no limit to it. Lebed, Feichbeller, Ortiz Rivera, Riley, and Skorzak, and myself. Okay, so if you guys can stay the whole time, that's great. If you can't, I'm sure Ms. Greglin will create a group chat for the event.
Well, and also what I would suggest, if we have the amount of volunteers still at that time,
Good time slots.
there's a lot of people that attend this event. If you've never been down there before, by the time Santa reaches, you will basically be shoulder to shoulder with people. So obviously, whoever is not at the booth, I mean, obviously, the earlier you get there, stragglers start to come. They usually have the snow thing for the kids, so you're gonna have a lot of families at the beginning, and then towards the end of the night, then it's just the regular, maybe older crowd. But not only the people that are standing at the booth, we kind of did this at bike night. I forget the ladies that attended with me, you can also walk around with tickets. If we have that amount of people, then those extra hands don't have to be standing at the table. They can actually be walking around, So keep that in mind, that we don't mind the extra people, because that'll give us more leverage as to go around and say, hey, we have a raffle booth. Go visit our booth, whatever number we're going to be at. You know what I'm saying? So we can promote ourselves at the time, and obviously hopefully get more people to come and get the raffle tickets.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, that is a good idea. Just kind of making sure that we cover all bases on that.
Madam Chair,
Yep.
also, Ms. Griglin is absolutely correct. It's a very intense event, and because you have enough people, you may want to split into 2 3-hour shifts. Do a 4 to 7 and a 7 to 10. Because the tree lighting's right around between 6:30 and 7, so everyone's going to get to see that, which is the real big thing with Santa coming, and that's when the crowd is elbow to elbow.
Serious.
So, yeah, and you're going to be right there where it's elbow to elbow, so.
Okay. Out of this list of people, who would be able to stay the whole time? Mazurkowitz, Lebed, Ortiz Rivera, and Feichbeller, and myself. Okay, so in Paragonda, Riley, and Skorzak, we could separate you guys into shifts. So, I'll take, what would be the most hectic time? Like 4 to what, and then the closing? Like if we were to separate the times into 2 shifts?
4 to 7 and 7 to 10.
Okay, so it's,
It's 2 3 hours, and at the end of one is hectic, and at the beginning of the other it's pretty hectic. So both sides get a lot of contact with the public.
okay. Let's do 2 for 4 to 7, and then 1 for 7 to 10, I think. Just so that we can have someone help take down, probably.
Yeah, we'll need, obviously, right, setup.
Well, help set up, take down.
Won't be much, because obviously, know, once we raffle off the baskets, which we'll probably, you know, end up doing that maybe around 9:30. We don't wanna wait till the end, especially if people wanna wait around for the basket, so maybe we'll do it at 9. So then that last hour, you're not gonna need a full hour to clean up.
Okay. So are you suggesting to have more people at the beginning than at the end?
I don't think it really matters, to be honest with you. I would just take 2 or 3 people. You don't need a lot at the table. And then the rest can, those other groups, like Mr. Mazurkowitz had recommended, those other groups can walk around.
Okay. Member Johnson?
I just want to make sure you have my name in for volunteering.
Oh, no, I don't. And Johnson, can you stay the whole time?
No, I have to do part-time.
Okay. That's fine. So we'll just do 2 and 2. So, M. Paragonda, what time can you do?
I can do the like 7 to 10.
7 to 10, okay. Riley, what time can you do?
I have soccer, so I also can only do 7 to 10.
Okay. Scorzak?
That works out. That works out great because I wanted the earlier shift.
And that would be 4 to 7?
Yeah.
Johnson?
I can only do 7 to 10.
That's okay.
That's 3-1.
Okay, so we have 3 for 7 to 10, and then Scorzak will be 4 to 7. Sound good, guys? Sound good? Member Scorzak?
I just have one more question. What would we have to wear? Would we wear like our youth council shirts?
Yeah.
Okay. And then second question, where would we park? Like,
Wherever you can find a spot.
It's very similar to any other event. If you've ever gone down to Red, White, and Boom, or when they have the art festival, you just have to plan ahead and know where some parking areas are. I mean, Winn-Dixie is usually a good option, but once again, you know, that parking goes up pretty fast.
The Big John lot is available if you're there like at 3.
Big John's lot.
Much later than 3, there's not much available there. The great thing is that when you come at 7, there's a lot of people coming and going, so you're liable to find a space anywhere.
Okay.
and then our baskets, do we just bring that day? And, or do you want to bring it earlier?
Yeah, so I mistakenly said that our baskets would be due at our December meeting, but this event is before our December meeting. So your baskets are due that day. And I wanted to make a reminder that if you're not going to be there, please still get your basket. I will literally come and pick it up from your house. But just contact me or like the person that you're working with. Be like, how are we going to get this basket to Holiday Festival of Lights? But yeah,
Okay.
that's all I got to say about that.
Is there any other questions?
Can I ask a couple?
Yes.
Because obviously I'm behind on most of this, but are you going to, as people buy their raffle tickets, are you taking their phone number? How are you informing who won? Is that what you're going to do?
Isn't it we have the little raffle things, and here's a ticket, we take it. Or they put one in, they take the other one,
Right,
or get their names,
But-
and they write their phone number on it on the back.
right. So you're going to call them the next day or the day, because chances are, because I've done a lot of these, they're not going to be hanging around to see if they won. So you'll probably be taking all the baskets back with you. There might be a few that pick them up, but just make sure you have a plan in place to contact them, and if you're going to deliver them, or if you're going to have if there's a designated place where they can pick them up. Just some little things to think about as you have a lot. I mean, 13 baskets. That's good. That's a lot. So, but just a little logistical things to think about. You know, and they're right. There'll be 20,000 people there that night. You know, it's probably our third biggest event in the city, and so you know, think about those things as you get everything ready. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll do like regular tickets and stuff like that, and then we'll write down their name, ticket number, and phone number, like on a piece of paper or something.
It should have it on the back.
On the back of the ticket
Like,
that we
yeah, when you
take?
pull a ticket, it's
Okay.
like, keep his coupon, and then they put the other one in there, they put their name and their phone number on there.
Okay, sounds good. Would they, if they aren't at the festival anymore after we call them, do we want to say to pick them up at city council office?
Correct. So what we did at the last event for bike night, I think there was only one, and I couldn't take it there because it was chocolate. So those poor people would have had melted chocolate. So right, the people for that particular basket knew that they had to pick it up and make arrangements to come to City Hall.
Okay.
Obviously, if there's really a problem with that, I could make arrangements with them, but we'll swing it to the fact that, you know, anything that's not picked up that night, you will be contacted, and then the basket will be available at city council offices.
Okay, sounds good.
And obviously, a key thing is if you're bringing the baskets that day, please make sure somehow it's, you know, you can get them at the dollar store, that, I don't know if it's called saran wrap, but the white clearing, so that nothing's falling out. I mean, it doesn't take much. You just put the, you know, on there, tie it together with a ribbon so that it's not falling apart. I think we discussed this, but please make sure there's nothing in there that could melt. You know, it could be very hot on December 7th, so just something to keep in mind.
Member Mazurkowitz, how much are the raffle tickets going to be, like, when you enter?
Did we sell them? How much did we sell them for last year?
To be honest with you, I have signs from before that I kept, so whatever we kept before, I can send you guys pictures. We did the same thing at the bike night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll just keep it, and I've got all the raffle tickets or whatever, so we don't need to purchase any of that. It's just a fact of making sure that the baskets, when you come that day, are ready to be put on a table and assembled.
Okay. Any other discussion? Is there anyone that wants to share an update on their basket? Whitish?
So Member Levitt and I have been working for the gift cards basket. I have one, hopefully will be coming from Chick-fil-A. It's gonna have like sauce bottles, gift cards, all that stuff. And then in terms of the other places we've contacted, there's Publix, Target, Starbucks. We're just basically gonna work on the paperwork for that, and then should have something by the day of the Festival of Lights. So just want to give an update for the gift cards basket.
Okay. Anyone else? Member Skorzak?
No, I just wanted to say that me and Member Johnson have been working on it. We have gotten 2 gift cards so far for our date night basket from Leilula's Pizzeria. And then we also have received, or we've purchased a blanket and glasses for the date night aspect of it. And we're still waiting on a couple more businesses for some more gift cards for more date night activities, but yeah.
Okay, sounds good. An update of my own is that me and Member Muncie are going to be working on a basket together. Our theme was going to be like a beach day. However, I found online this it's a company that makes specifically gift baskets, and you can request to have a donation of a gift basket. So I don't know if they're just going to give me one or if they're going to give me a bunch. It doesn't say on the application, but I'm working through that, and I'm actually going to send it tonight. And I don't know if it's going to be like a beach theme. So just a heads up, I don't know what theme it's going to be, but hopefully they give us a basket, and it's going to be like a mystery surprise for all of us. So just letting you guys know. So we're switching up the idea. Anything else? Anyone? Yep.
Would anyone else like to volunteer to, put together a basket? I know some people weren't here at the last meeting. You want to do the pet basket though, right? Okay.
I can do the pet basket, and if you need any more, I can.
No, I just wanted, because I knew you said that you wanted to do a pet basket, but,
Okay. Yep. Ortiz Rivera.
I can also work on a basket. I just don't have an idea right now, but I can send you one later.
Okay. In the backup material, there's a whole list of current baskets and basket ideas. So it's a list of everyone in the baskets that they're currently working on, so you don't repeat. And then there's some blank ones too. If you just want to pick one from there and then just send me what you're working on, that's fine.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Hopefully they don't give me a gift card to ABC Sprites, because that's not very youth council, but go ahead, Ms. Grigland.
Sorry, Chair. Okay, so one.
Did I say it right? Spirits?
ABC.
Okay, See, that's a good thing, though. I don't know what the thing is called, because I'm not even 21 yet.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ms. Grigland.
I do want to put in one request. I want to have a cutoff date of Wednesday, December the 4th. And what I'm going to need on that particular day is the picture of your completed basket, what's inside of it, and the total value. Because I need to be able to put together signs that are gonna be in front of these baskets so people know what's gonna go into them, okay? So the cutoff date is Wednesday, December 4th. I need to have all of that information to me, because that's only gonna give me 2 days for me and my staff to help print out all of the flyers.
Okay. Any other discussion regarding blessings in a backpack or holiday festival of lights? Right, seeing none, moving on to Lovelocks project updates. I will now pass the floor over to Member DePeyron for those updates.
Okay, so last meeting I had said that we never got a response from like our onboarding or anything, like the welding company, and I've contacted them more times and there's still no response. So I actually do think that their company shut down from what, like with the contact information. And then last time I also got the contact info for Nortec Boating. So I called them and I asked them like who they were using for like welding, and it's on the little page I have, it's up there, it says alternate welding contact information, which is Action Welding. So right now I'm just working on contacting them, and then I don't want to just contact them, I want to see if I can find like other places and just tell them about our project, see if anyone would be willing to do it as a donation. So that's where I'm at right now. And then if anyone has like any information on any welders that they know or like they have a personal connection with and contact information, then you guys can send that over to me. But yeah, I'm hoping that by next meeting I have an answer about like who can help us out, or if someone isn't willing to do it as a donation, like what the cost would be, but I'm hoping we can find someone. So.
Okay. What was the response from Nortec again?
They were the ones who gave me the contact information for Action Welding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
And
they gave me the phone number, and I'm just trying to contact them for now.
Have they not responded?
No.
Okay.
But I think I'm gonna call them because I use their email, and I'm assuming they don't check that as often. So.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're doing a good job because, I mean, we got this as a donation. The company shut down. But yeah, thank you. And just try and get a response by next meeting.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
when you contact the Action Welding was the one that was recommended by
By Nortec.
Nortec,
Yes.
make sure that you let them know that Nortec told you to
They
call
said-
them.
okay.
You drop that hint.
Okay, any other?
And also, Madam Chair, I believe we had a donation for this project that exceeds what our expenses would be for the powder coating.
Yes, we have plenty of money for the powder coating.
Yes, but my point would be, if we can't get a 100% donation, we may be able to let them donate the labor, and we could pay for the materials.
Okay.
If that, don't lead with that, but if that
If it
comes
happens.
up,
Okay.
we have some money for that.
Yep.
That's it.
Right. Member Salazar?
So my dad actually co-owns an architect company, RG Architects. So I'm sure they know a lot of wielders and companies. So if you need help, I could definitely ask him, seeing if he knows any companies, and give them your contact information to see if he could reach out for more donations.
Yes, that would be great. Thank you.
Yep, and there's your plan B. In case the first one doesn't plan out. Okay, welding. Okay, any other discussion regarding this? Right, seeing none. Moving on to item 11F, 2025 calendar. In your backup material, I have included a Word doc with future dates of our meetings. Is there any changes you would like to have made before we move for approval? Okay, I will lead off. I would like to change the date of, let me pull it up really quick, of February 14th as a meeting date. It falls on Valentine's Day, and I know we may have some parties that we want to go to or events on that day. So I suggest moving it maybe to February 7th. If that's an idea. What do we think? Is there anyone that wanted to keep February 14th? Not in particular? Okay. Don't laugh, I'm being serious. Like, I just,
Chair? Okay, I just found out that we might have to table this because
I just need to double check the ordinance to make sure that we can actually change the date in which you guys meet. I just need to verify that.
Okay. So what if, okay. Because like I would not be able to go, like to the meeting. That's my birthday. So I will not be here in the city. But, okay, so just table this for next meeting? Okay. So with that new information, this will be tabled for the December meeting. Any discussion regarding that?
Can
Not like
I
we have a
just
choice,
ask, is there a way that we can just table the one date? Only because the city, or the city clerk's office is needing the calendar because they gotta, okay. So let's approve the rest of the dates.
Okay.
Just table the February meeting date. Okay?
Got it.
In the motion or whatever.
Okay, so the February date, table February, approve, rest. Okay, is there any discussion regarding the rest of the dates with the exclusion of February 14th? Well, exclusion of discussion about February 14th. Right, seeing none, do I have a motion to adopt the presented 2025 calendar without the discussion of February 14th for the calendar? Member Whitish?
Motion to adopt.
Do I have a second? Member Mazurkowitz?
I second.
Member Whitish made the motion, Member Mazurkowitz seconded. Any discussion? Right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 11G, trunk or treat debrief. I now open the floor to any members that would like to give a report of what they did during the trunk or treat and how it went. I know it was me, Mazurkowitz, Ortiz Rivera, and Skorzak. I'll start with Skorzak and then to Mazurkowitz.
I just want to say I think it went really, really well. We got to interact with a lot of children. We got really into our characters, and I also want to say, like, the council, the members that did work on it, we did, like, it was a really nice job. A lot of people were complimenting us. I don't believe we won, but I think we did a really good job. And yeah, I think the kids got really involved, and I'm glad that we got to interact with the youth that we don't interact as much because a lot of them are younger. But yeah, I thought it was a good time.
Also, Member Muncy also did go. Sorry. Member Mazurkowitz?
I had a blast. This is so much fun. For those of you for those of you who like weren't there, to give you a perspective on how many people were there, the line was wrapped around the City Hall and City Council building. It was huge. We were supposed to leave there at cleanup was supposed to start at 8 o'clock. I know I didn't get in my car and leave till 10. Because we couldn't really just tell people to go home and you don't get any candy. But I loved this event last year. It was one of my favorites. I was so excited to participate again this year. I think our trunk looked great, and I think we deserve to win, but that's okay. But I would encourage all of the junior members next year, if they didn't go this year, to try and be able to make it, because I just think it's a really fun event. So.
Yeah. Ortiz Rivera, did you want to speak on?
Yeah, I don't want to sound too redundant, but I totally agree. I think that our trunk was awesome. I don't know if we won or what place we had, but I thought it came out really well. And I put on my Hogwarts shirt. Kids were having fun. We had our first drone show in Cape. That was really cool. I think everybody had a good time, and I had a good time, and it was the first trunk or treat I've been to. So, yeah, good turnout.
Member Muncy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to take the time to thank my fellow youth council members for the time that they put in to making this trunk a success. It was very nice looking, and I had a lot of fun doing it. We have some artists on the board. It was a great event, and I personally think we should have won. Our trunk was very nice.
I think the key decoration was the Monster Book of Monsters that Member Muncy made. If you guys haven't seen the photos of it, it is a spectacle, to say the least, okay? But yeah, really great job, especially to those that actually created the decorations. I know that I had to borrow a cloak from one of my friends because I didn't own anything from Harry Potter, but it was really fun. I really did like the event, and even though we don't have access to a SWAT truck or a crane where we can hang skeletons from. I think that, what model make is your car again? What model make it, and what make is your car again? I think the Honda really ate. Like, it was good. It was good. But yeah, we got a lot of, not so much like kids appreciating it, but their millennial parents, which I think is also great. Any other discussion regarding that? No? All right. Seeing none, moving on to item 11H, Veterans Day Parade. I will now pass the floor over to Administrative Contact Ricklin.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, so I just wanted to let you know, obviously, who's attending the parade with me tomorrow. I've got member Feichthaler, Ledbid, Widdish, Mazurkowitz, and Ortiz Rivera. I know many of you will also be there attending in other formalities with your school or other organizations, so hope to see you guys there. Once again, it's another great event. I know sometimes it's very difficult on a Saturday. I know a lot of seniors have other things going on. But yeah, if you're in the area and want to say hi, we'll be out there handing out candy.
Yep. I will also be at the Veterans Day Parade, but I will not be with Youth Council. I will be leading my school formation for JRTC. So you'll see me in front of the banner, shouting and screaming commands and stuff like that. But yeah, I will try and sneak away and see if I could find any of you guys. I wasn't successful last year, but we'll see this year. Any discussion regarding that? Lebed?
Where is it at? I was just wondering.
So usually the route is on Cape Coral Parkway from like Chester Street, which is by where the old Perkins is and Holiday Inn. And then it'll go on to Cape Coral Parkway, all the way up to, why am I drawing a blank? That street right before Starbucks. I can't think of what it's called. I mean, I want to say it's a very short parade because obviously, they close a major roadway.
It turns into the club?
Yeah, or by like AutoZone, whatever that street is, and that's where it usually ends. But once again, it's going to be on a Saturday. I'm sure the weather's going to be gorgeous. The amount of people that's out there with their kids, sitting down, getting candy, it's a very, very well-attended event as well.
Okay. Any other discussion or questions? Great. Seeing none, moving on to item 11I, Holiday Festival of Lights. I will now pass the floor over to Administrative Contact Ricklin.
Thank you, Chair. I won't take too much time in this because obviously we all talked about that we're all going to be there. But one of the key things that we can also participate in is when, at one point in time in the evening, it's usually around 6, I'm going to say, is when they introduce the City Council. The mayor usually is the guest speaker. He will say a couple words. And he will introduce us so whoever wants to go to that particular part of it, we can go on stage with the city council and then they just address us. Usually, unfortunately, there's not enough time to have somebody speak. I will try to put in a good word again, but at least, we can get recognized, and that's why we do wear our shirts that day as well.
All right. Thank you. Any discussion regarding the Holiday Festival of Lights event? Member Salazar?
When is it and what time?
It will be on December 7th from 4 to 10 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. That's the same event of the raffle baskets. Go ahead.
Specifically for being announced for the people that are like going to go up on the stage, it says to be there like around the stage area between 5:20 and 5:30 p.m.
Okay.
So.
When do they?
I'll send out an invite so you guys know that that's a particular time that they will be
Okay.
announced.
Right, that's done. Any other discussion? Right, seeing none, moving on to item 12, next meeting agenda topics. What agenda items should be added to next meeting's agenda, or what would you like to be added? I will start off this conversation. I suggest we maintain B through F. F just because we will approve the February date. Item I, which is Holiday Festival of Lights, but instead of discussing it, it will be a debrief. much like how we did for trunk or treat, and then adding in a new agenda item, charter school questions discussion, so that we can discuss different questions that we can ask in come January. Any discussion regarding that? All right. Seeing none, moving on. Nope, not moving on. Sorry. Do I have a motion to include items B through F, I, and the new addition of charter school questions into the next meeting's agenda? Member Whitish?
I move.
Do I have a second? M. Paragonda?
I second that motion.
Member Whitish made the motion. Member M. Paragonda seconded. Any discussion? Right, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Now we're moving on. All right, item 13, reports. Due to missing October's meeting, we will be combining both the October report dates with the November reports dates. So we will be going in this order. It'll be Chair, Feichthaler, Whitish, Johnson, and Muncy. When it is your turn, please state the initiative that you're reporting on and the assignment attached to it. So I will be going first, speaking on the People's Initiative, with the assignment being meetings with other youth councils. Unfortunately, we have not been able to go to the FLC summit because of the hurricane. However, I do look forward to reporting on this more in depth come when we're able to go to Tallahassee. Okay. And the next one is initiative being message internal with the assignment of the to-do list completion. There has been around a 95% completion rate for the to-do list. So very good job for everyone that has done their due diligence to making sure that all assignments are completed. I do wish to continue this throughout the term with just raising that to 100%. Okay. I now pass it over to Vice Chair Feichthaler.
So I did the reports on the attendance for the last quarter and for the attendance overall. And for both of those, the attendance was 83%.
Thank you. Passing it now to Member Whitish.
Concerning the message external and how the community views us, we determined that this objective would be to, instead of having the community try to come to us, we would go to the community to collect input on how the youth and city council are doing. Basically, our way to do that was collecting the survey results from the school reach out program. At this time, we've collected 11 results, with 1 out of 3 of our presentations completed. So at this time, technically it's 33% complete with 11 results. Hopefully, I'm anticipating that we'll reach at least 30 to 40 results by the time the 3 presentations have concluded. Ideally, more if we can. And then that is really just a matter of time in terms of completing this objective. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Right, thank you. Moving on to Member Johnson.
So with keeping communication within everybody for the book drive, we've done that by, obviously with the changes, sending out emails to everybody, making sure they're all updated, and then also talking to, obviously, members on the council to make sure they know that the changes, so then we can all get the right information out.
Right, and finishing us off will be Member Muncy.
So in regards to message external, my initiative was to increase our earned media through engagement with different news stations in the area. And our main project right now that I would consider reaching out would be the book drive. But considering we pushed that back, I had a message drafted, and with the contacts that I have established, they said that they would be more than willing to put things in their services, but they want something concrete. So because we pushed the book drive back, I saved it. So we'll table that. If there's anything that you, Member Johnson, would like me to include in that when I reach out again, please feel free to send that to me.
Right, any discussion on those reports given? Right, seeing none, the next reports to be given will be going in this order. Member M. Paragonda, Initiative People. Assignment is adopt road attendance to be given in December. Member Imparagonda with initiative member external with assignment public booths, which will be in junction with member Mazurkowitz, will be given in December. Member Mazurkowitz under initiative fiscal assets with the assignment blessings in a backpack will also be given in December, along with the public booths assignment under initiative message external. Is there any concerns or questions about that? Right, seeing none, I now open the floor to just regular reports of members. Member Whitish.
So I'd actually like to take the time to recognize somebody in the room today, and that is Councilmember Hayden. So if you didn't know, Councilmember Hayden made the decision not to run for re-election in this year, but I want to kind of reflect on how much he has contributed to the Youth Council and how much he has cared about the Youth Council since I've joined. I met Councilmember Hayden about 2 years ago now as a sophomore. I heard about the Youth Council. I didn't know really what it was about, but I emailed him and he invited me to City Hall. He sat down with me in his office. He actually showed me council chambers. He basically gave me a tour, and he told me that the reason why he was doing this is because he had never had an interested sophomore before, like actually reach out to him. And that just shows, Councilmember Hayden, how much you care, that you were willing to sacrifice your own time to take some kid interested in government, some 15-year-old, and just kind of take a chance. And I really would say that the only reason why I'm sitting on this dais today is because of you, sir. You really have been a mentor to me these past 2 years, and I'm really sad to see you go, but I wanted to thank you for your service to this city. You've been here for this city even after COVID, and you've been here for 4 years. Thank you for taking the time away from your family to serve this city, and I want you to know your service does not go unappreciated. So thank you very much for everything you've done for me and for Cape Coral. Thank you, sir. Yep.
Item 15, time and place of future meetings. The next regular meeting of the Cape Coral Youth Council. Yes. So I did. Backtracking. Item 14, reports of the council liaison and advisors. Is there any reports from our council liaison and or advisor? Yes.
Yeah, I think I need to follow up on that. I wasn't expecting to lose it until November 20th, but Christian, you already put me on my way. I made the decision not to run again because as dedicated as I am to this city, as you get older in life and days get more precious, sometimes it's just time to move on to that next phase of our lives, and that's what my wife and I decided to do. She retires a couple weeks after I'm done with council. But I will tell you this, what I'll miss the most, and I've said this after every job, it's the people. It's the people who care. It's the people who are committed to their city. It's their courage, especially during a time when my term began, we were in COVID. Since then, we've had hurricanes, and to see that dedication from all of staff was tremendous and impactful, and something that I'm going to always remember. I really believe this particular city council over the last 3 years, despite the issues that we had with the stipend and J.C. Park, may have accomplished more than any other council. From the police and fire training facilities that are being built, from, you talked about students wanting more parks, from the new parks that are opening from now to new parks that are planned in the future, including the renovations of the Yacht Club and J.C. Park. We developed a UEP master plan so people up north would know when they might be getting utilities, which they had been asking for years. We got a permit to remove the Chiquita Lock. These are projects that have been in the works for 15 years. We bought the old golf course. which you all will be able to contribute into on what that park's going to be able to look at. Again, another project that's been in the works for over a decade. We made 3 council appointments during that time. One of the highlights of my last 4 years is this group, and what you meant to me. If I was having a bad week and I came into these meetings when I was liaison or when I subbed for the liaison, it picked me right up. Your dedication, how much you care, how bright you are. I really think that as we struggle with generations after mine that are ahead of you, I really think you are the next group of people that are going to take this city, this country, to another level because of how much you care and what your dedication is. And I really believe that. And look at your accomplishments over the last 3 years, a strategic plan, the first one ever in the state of Florida, the joint city and youth council meetings, how important that have been. Your initiatives that you have continued, your projects, how you're volunteering on a moment's notice when the chair asked you to contribute to something. I didn't see that 3 years ago. So, thank you for your dedication and taking the time to put into this city. I want to recognize the man to my left. There isn't a smarter, more dedicated person to this city than this guy. We have disagreed on occasion on some things, but his knowledge of this city, the people that come to him to share in that knowledge, the fact that you get to benefit from that and how he steered you through this strategic plan, you're beneficiaries of somebody special with this guy to my left. So, I want to thank you again for making my life better these 4 years. And who knows, maybe you may not be done with me yet, you juniors. I may re-engage next year at some point. Who knows? But Christian, thank you again. Chair, thank you again. I will miss you guys a lot. Thanks.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, thank you, council member. It has been a joy to work with you for a lot longer than just 4 years. We've been banging around ideas about Cape Coral for well over a decade or two. Madam Chair, as far as my report, I will not be at the North Fort Myers 11/14 event because I will be out of the country, but I will be at the Oasis High School 12/3 event.
Okay. Go ahead.
So for the December 14th meeting as well, I also will not be in attendance. My colleague Josh Fredrickson will be in attendance for the city attorney's office, but I will be back for the December 3rd meeting. So.
Okay. Thank you. Chair, okay, so there's 2 things that I would like to bring up. If you haven't seen it when you possibly came in, make sure when you're exiting today that you go look at our trophy case. The sign has finally arrived and has been hung up. So please, please make sure you take a look at that. I think it turned out phenomenal. Just the whole thing to have it up there. Right? And that was going to be my second text, and of course then I got busy and it just never made it to you guys. But yeah, please check that out. And the second thing that I'm just going to make note of, so on November 20th, which is the regular city council meeting, that is where they have sworn in the new members. So there is a time between when the old council members that are no longer serving will be recognized with plaques or whatever, then they take a slight recess. So during that slight recess in years past, I usually have 2 members of youth council who will help me set up cupcakes, juice, obviously set up the table, serve the residents who want to come out and do that, and then of course clean up time. So it's not a long amount of time. I'm estimating the meeting, because of course, as you know, any meetings can go longer or shorter, that it'll probably be around like a start time of 5:15, 5:30, and I would think you're going to be out in 45 minutes. Like I said, I just need 2 volunteers. If there's more than 2 of you, then we can do it off record via text. So do I have more than 2 volunteers?
Raise your hand if you'd like to go. Right, Whitish, Ortiz Rivera, Muncy, myself. So you have 4.
So just include you 4, don't include anybody else on the group text?
Is that all right with the
So
remainder?
Garcia, Muncy, who was the other ones?
Whitish and Ortiz Rivera.
British and Ortiz. Okay, I will text you guys separately probably next week. So just keep an eye out for that, but that's what it's for. Did you want to be included, Salazar?
Did you want to be included? Oh, I didn't see your hand up. Yes, then Salazar as well.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so that's what that will be about when I text you guys, and I am done. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other reports? Okay. Moving on to item 15, time and place of future meetings. The next regular meeting of the Cape Coral Youth Council is scheduled for Friday, December 13th at 3 p.m. in council chambers. Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting? Member Mazurkowitz.
Motion to adjourn?
Do I have a second? Member Vice Chair Feichthaler?
I second that.
Member Mazurkowitz made the motion. Member Vice Chair Feichthaler seconded. Any discussion? Right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? This meeting is now adjourned.